Hi guys, this is Lewis here. Thanks for joining the Patreon account. In this Patreon section I'm going to talk a lot about metaphysical stuff, spiritual stuff, esoterical stuff, exopolitics, weird and wonderful, reptilians, you name it, I'll probably be talking about it. But in this section I want to talk about the rogues. Basically the rogues are interesting thing because the rogues are such a big part of nutritional balancing. 2 minutes, there's a dog here. Right, mate. The rogues are a big part of nutritional balancing, and basically Dr. Wilson talks about them a lot. It's just a fancy term, I suppose, for the devil realm, the darker realms. And it is said that when God created the universe, he created Lucifer, which was the highest angel, the kind of next in line from God, had huge amounts of power, and Lucifer decided to rebel, and as a result was thrown down into this darker realm, and it took a lot of people with him, it took a lot of souls with him. And this realm basically feeds off fear, feeds off lower vibrations, feeds off anger and hurt and pain. That's something that's hard to wrap your head around, but the universe is weird and wonderful, and you get some pretty intense creatures, weird creatures, so it doesn't surprise me that there's creatures out there that basically feed off hurt and anger and pain and suffering. So it is said that basically when God created man, Adam and Eve, in the image of God, what happened was that Eve was tempted by the lower forces, the rogues. And it doesn't really say in the Bible whether it was Lucifer, the devil. It just talked about the serpent. Whether the devil was working through the serpent, I don't know. But whatever happened is that Eve was tempted by the lower realms, by the devil, in whatever way. And this, basically, as soon as you get tempted, you become impure, and that impurity just multiplies and multiplies and multiplies until you live in a world like we live today, whereby we're kind of at a crossroads, I suppose. The world is said to be run by the devil, and I do believe that to be true. I do believe that the evil runs the world at a very, very deep level. At the end of the day, if people had your best interests at heart, if the government had your best interests at heart, we would not be living in the world that we live in today. And there's a lot of higher beings that are basically trying to stop this. But for the most part, it is true that the world is basically run by people that do not have your best interests at heart. If you want to go deep, you look into the horrendous things like paedophilia rings and people extracting, I think it's adrenochrome, which is I don't even like speaking about it, but I suppose it needs to be talked about. It's basically when a human body goes through very extreme fear, the adrenals release this hormone called adrenochrome, and they extract this stuff. They feed off this stuff. It's really dark and deep, and don't really want to speak about it too much. It makes me feel sick. But this is what's happening. And basically these rogues do not want humans to evolve. They don't want them to be close to God, because that's how they feed. They feed off the fear and anger of flesh and humans and all that sort of stuff. So this is the dilemma that we're in today. And I do believe that there's souls that reincarnate onto Earth, higher souls, to try and help the souls of the Earth with this transition to fight against the rogues. And I believe that I'm one of them one of that tribe. I believe that probably if you're watching this, you're probably part of it too. I can almost guarantee it. And it's nothing to be arrogant about. It's just, you know, part of this giant system. And we're here to basically help other people. So, you know, how do we deal with it? Well, we're very fortunate to have nutritional balancing. Nutritional balancing is like the antidote to the rogues, in a way. It shows you how to heal the body in the 21st century, which is super, super important. It tells us, you know, gives us other advice in Dr. Wilson's articles on, you know, spiritual advice, religious advice, ways to think, ways to act. In my life, you know, if you want to talk about the rogues, I mean, the rogues have really damaged me. I mean, alcohol, for example, is one of the worst things. If you look back and look at the etymology of the word alcohol just means to open you up to bad spirits. You know, so I was like heavy into alcohol, heavy into pharmaceutical drugs. The rogues really run the pharmaceutical industry. What else was I doing? Smoking. I was, you know, brought up in an environment that told me that loose sex was fine. A lot of masturbation was fine. I mean, who's giving out this advice? Do you know what I mean? Whether you want to call it the devil or whether you want to call it this evil realm, these people who are running the world are rogues in general. I mean, horrendous people, you know, telling you to do all this stuff. So I lived that life and understood Earth in all its hellish form. I mean, I was in a bad position. And I overcome that, and through that overcoming process I learnt about all this stuff, and I learnt about the truth, and I learnt about, well, you know, health and how to live a good life. And, you know, one thing I realised is that, you know, God created the Garden of Eden. What's the Garden of Eden? Well, it's earth in all its glory. It was earth before the rogues basically sodomized it in a way. And I mean, look at this. And one thing I've learnt is that getting back into nature and rewilding is, I think it's the best way forwards. To respect what God created in the Garden of Eden, to respect the fact that he made man to be guardians of the earth. And that's what we are. We're guardians of the earth. And, you know, nutritional balancing is like, really, it's trying to get us back in touch with nature. You know, if you think about it, organic food, spring water, going on walks, even meditation is part of what we used to do when we lived in nature, the pushing down exercise. We used to do that naturally. You can read it in the Hopi tribe manual and stuff. You know, what else? Even like sweat lodges and stuff we used to do as part of sauna therapy and whatnot. So basically, I suppose that's it really. I suppose I could go way deeper into it. This is the kind of first video I've done on this channel, and it's made me realise how much I enjoy talking about this sort of stuff actually. But if I talked about it on my other YouTube channel, I think I get a lot of backlash. But yeah, one of my favourite subjects is you know, sacred geometry and life on other planets, you know, the ETs. I did get abducted when I was a kid by the Greys, so that's probably something I will talk about on this channel that people don't know about. And yeah, so they've been up to no good with me at some point. So that's pretty much it. If you've got any ideas for videos on this channel, I'm not sure how Patreon works quite yet. I think you can comment on the videos, so just comment on about things you'd like to listen about, and I'll figure out whether it's more suitable for this channel or the YouTube channel. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and chat to you soon. Bye bye.